You know that feeling where you have something stressful going on and you just feel so trapped in your own mind and you want it to stop. You know that it should stop. You try to rationalize your emotions, but for some reason, the feeling will not go away and it is so frustrating. How do I stop letting myself get so worked up and ruin my day? Because I don't want to ruin my day, but for some reason, my body and my feelings won't let me just be at peace. So if you want to take control of your emotions and have some peace of mind, then don't worry because your online bestie is here and I got you. Hi, I'm Charlize Chu, the host of the Online Bestie podcast, where I talk about all things self-care, glow up, relationship, so we can all just be the best version of ourselves. So if you want to keep hearing episodes like this, then make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and rate and review on Spotify. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a story that I probably should never say, and I never thought I would talk about this on the internet, but here we are. I overshare anyways. The first time I've ever had a panic attack is when I was in high school. I had just got my driver's license. I wanted to drive. You know, I am free to do whatever I want because I have this power of being able to go anywhere. So I drive, found a place to park right between these two cars, and I do my thing and I leave. And it's time to back out. Okay. Now, when you take the driver's test, you don't park in between cars. You do parallel parking, which was the one thing I failed. And I was trying to back out between these two cars. And I turned a little bit too quickly and ended up hitting the car next to me while turning. At this point, I am freaking out because I do not know what to do in this situation. I just hit someone's car. It didn't sound great. I didn't even want to go out to check because I literally just got my license. What the heck? No one was around. I just drove off. Before you try to call the police on me, all right, I first of all drove back, went home, started literally not being able to breathe. I was like losing my mind. I was pacing around, like literally grabbing my hair, like full on panic attack. Honestly, just needed some guidance because I didn't know what was going on. Like, obviously, I knew what to do in that moment was just to stay there and tell someone that I hit their car or something, but they weren't even there. So I was just like, I literally didn't know what to do. And then I had told someone at home, I was like, okay, I just hit a car. I was like, we need to go back right away. I just wanted someone to be there with me, all right? And by the way, never ever do this. Do not hit and run. I went back to the scene and then confessed my truth. My emotions took control, and that panicking led me to make a very irrational decision that normally I wouldn't make. If I had the right peace of mind, I would not have done that at all. You know, I luckily do have a very guilty conscience. So when I got back home, I was like, we need to go back right away so I can fix this. That could have ended very badly. What if I didn't tell anybody, or I didn't have a guilty conscience and I just left it there? Like, that would have been very illegal, very wrong of me. That's just how powerful our emotions are. So today I will be teaching you guys how we are going to control our feelings and not let us define us. First of all, be proud of yourself for even being here right now, listening to this episode, because the first step is just being self-aware of maybe you acting a certain way because of your emotions and you want to grow and be better. Because it's honestly, it sounds easy to be self-aware, but some people just don't know to be self-aware because they don't even know what's wrong with them, or they know that there's an issue with their emotions, but they just don't even feel motivated to fix it. They're lazy. They don't want to be better. So you being here is literally the golden step. Throughout this whole process is just learning to be compassionate and kind with yourself as well, because you're human, okay? We're all human. We all get anxious. We all get angry. We all have these intense emotions. Some of us react differently. Some of us feel certain emotions more intensely, and that's just human nature, okay? And being self-aware and allowing yourself to express how you feel is so much better than just holding it in and suppressing all that emotion and not coming to terms with it. At least for me, whenever I'm super anxious, it feels like little me is inside my brain just running around in circles, like there's a fire going on. I don't even know how to explain it because it's so chaotic. Like sometimes I will be telling my boyfriend how I feel, but I'm like, if you genuinely want to know what goes on in my brain, I might have to write a 3-page essay for you. It's a long process, so you also just have to be patient with yourself. Certain negative emotions that we have come from what we learned in our childhood. You might not know this, but we have these subconscious thoughts, just like understanding that if you don't eat, you're gonna die. You know, that's what we kind of were taught when we were younger. Like, you need to eat, you need this energy. And growing up, it's like, okay, just like that, we know that, right? But there are some other things that we were taught growing up that may not be factual. It might just be based on people's values and opinions. And you grow up thinking that's just how the way the world is because that's what you learned. But some of those things that we learned and are in our subconscious beliefs are not actually benefiting us. In fact, they are sabotaging us. So we're also going to talk about that and learn what to let go and what to unlearn. For instance, especially in an Asian household, I was always taught that being emotional and just vulnerable was very weak. Be strong, be independent. I think especially for men too, it's like being emotional is also seen as feminine and not masculine. And if you are trying to be able to move past your negative emotions and not let those define you, you need to feel it. If you don't allow yourself to feel, that's just gonna be trapped inside of you, and you're always going to have that inkling and that feeling in your heart. And once you let it out, you will be able to get over it and move on to the other side. I would say, honestly, being emotional is an act of bravery because you are willing to show your true self, and a lot of people aren't willing to show that side. My greatest connections are with people who are able to be more vulnerable because that way I can relate to them more and we can have meaningful conversations rather than like surface level conversations. I mean, just think about your friends. Like, what do you guys talk about? I'm sure you guys don't just talk about how the weather is. You guys talk about how you really feel, some of your deepest secrets. Even like the creators or celebrities you guys look up to. Why do you look up to them? For me, I look up to certain people because of the relatability, what they speak about, how they maybe talk about their insecurities. When, you know, I love when creators show their acne, their real skin, because it's like, you're being vulnerable, but that's showing me that you are just like me. And you are also telling yourself that, hey, you know what? You may feel very sad right now. You may feel upset, but it's okay. You can let it out. I give you permission to feel this way. Like, imagine someone is telling you, I don't give you permission to feel a certain way. That's going to make things worse. That's going to make you feel even more upset. But if someone just says to you, you are allowed to express yourself, it's kind of like this weight lifted off your shoulders because you give yourself the okay. And it's like, wow, I don't even feel that sad anymore because I'm allowing myself to feel like this. I'm allowing myself to let it exist. And it's not this huge deal. When we are happy or we laugh at something, we don't make it a huge deal in our heads, you know? Like, when I'm happy, I'm just like, wow, it's a great day. But when I'm sad and anxious, I just feel like my whole day is surrounded by that. That negative energy is manifesting itself into everything I do, into my work, into my friendships, because I am making it such a huge deal. So when you allow yourself to just feel sad or feel angry, you're not making a huge deal out of it. And that will make it pass because you are not giving significance to that emotion. We also give significance to emotions by trying to rationalize it and be logical, because I thought that was the healthy thing to do, okay? I always thought, if I feel a certain way, I need to be logical and figure out why I feel this way in order to stop feeling like this. But as I said before, we don't do that with happiness. I don't try to be logical with feeling happiness. I just feel happy. There may not be a exact reason why you feel a certain way. You just do. And if you try to rationalize it and figure it out, you are just putting way too much energy into that intense emotion. I think it is very good and healthy to figure out, maybe the root cause of how you feel, but it's not always the best to do that in that moment. I think it's great to do that maybe after you let that feeling pass and then journal about it. In that moment, you should just let yourself sit there. I literally saw a story from this girl I followed the other day, and she was like, I was feeling so sad all day and I just sat in my room and cried. And for some reason, I feel better. And it's not for some reason. It's because you literally just let it out. And maybe that's all you need. Maybe you don't need to do all these crazy things, because I would always just try to do all these healing tactics. I would go to the gym. I would read all these books whenever I was feeling sad, because I was just trying to understand why I was so upset. I was doing everything but just letting myself feel it. When I was trying to figure out the reasons why I was upset, it would just make me even more angry and stressed, because I just couldn't pinpoint the exact reason. Emotions are not logical, and you're not going to never feel any emotion. I mean, that's boring, right? Because happiness wouldn't be happiness without sadness. I don't mean let this feeling sit for weeks and just continue to sit in your bed and rot, because that is not beneficial. But I mean, give yourself a few minutes to literally just do nothing and breathe. Whenever we have such intense feelings, we always feel really jittery. Like I said, when I had that panic attack, I was pacing. I was literally grabbing my hair. I didn't know what to do. But maybe if I had just sat down, took a breath, even in that exact situation when I was in my car, I hit that car. If I had just sat down and breathed for a little bit, maybe I would have been able to make the better decision, which was realize that, what? I made a mistake, but it's going to be okay. Solve it and we'll move past this. It's almost like you need to gentle parent yourself. I don't know if you've seen those gentle parenting videos online. I love watching them because it kind of heals my inner childhood. Gentle parenting is if your kid is throwing a tantrum, instead of getting angry at them and saying, why are you throwing this tantrum? Or why are you giving me an attitude? The parent sits with them, holds them, and they're like, okay, let's take a breather. Are you hungry? Do you want something to eat? And once you feel better, we'll get up and do something that you want. Because maybe growing up, you weren't treated like that, and you were punished for feeling these intense emotions. Subconsciously, you punish yourself for feeling bad emotions. But it's not something you need to be upset at yourself for. Unlearning that just takes practice, and you need to really reaffirm yourself. Your emotions aren't you, okay? If you get anxious a lot, that doesn't mean you're an anxious person. I'm a person who gets anxious, who gets sad, who gets very happy. I'm a person who falls in love. I'm a person who is funny and laughs. Do not label yourself as an emotion. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, you see your physical being. You don't see what your heart is. You don't see the inside. Other people don't see what goes on inside your head. They just see you. And you are made up with all these other complex emotions and hobbies and skills and likes and dislikes. That's who you are. Understanding that my emotions are okay and they're valid was one of the most helpful lessons I've ever learned. It just feels like I can be who I am authentically and know that that is natural. It doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me a burden to anyone. Because when my friends are sad, or when they're angry, I'm not like thinking, wow, you are so annoying. Just let yourself be authentically you. You will realize that those feelings are probably not as a big deal or as strong as they are once you realize like it's okay to have them. And just because they pass doesn't mean they won't happen again. They will obviously happen again. You also need to learn how to appreciate those feelings, because sometimes when we're scared or upset, that is our body telling us that something is wrong and we need to figure that out and fix it so we are safe. You really need to thank these emotions that you have because they're keeping you protected. It is that time of the podcast episode where I read your glow up stories that you guys sent in. Her love. They said, "Hi Shar, thank you for this podcast. It's helping me work out of my comfort zone. One of my 2024 resolutions was to start going to the gym. I recently signed up. It's scary but fun. Love, live. Well, live. Thank you for sending that in. I am so proud of you for going to the gym and working on your goals. The gym is definitely scary. I am still scared going to the gym sometimes, especially when there's a lot of people. That's why I like going in the morning when there's not as many people. What's really helped me is realizing that everybody is just focused on themselves. But I think it's also really nice to make friends at the gym and talk to people because it is less scary. Sometimes I will see the most intimidating person at the gym and I'll like go up and talk to them and realize they're actually so sweet. So I definitely encourage doing that, especially it'll help you to find a gym buddy too, which will motivate you to go to the gym even more if you go with a friend. Okay, the next one from Zuzu says, I treat my friends better than I used to and spend more time with my family to show them how grateful I am. That is amazing. I feel like something like that is really hard to always recognize, you know, especially like treating your friends or family better. Sometimes we don't like to admit that, hey, maybe we could be better people or we aren't doing the best that we can. So the fact that you were able to recognize that and better yourself and better your connections is so good. And I'm sure that the people around you love having you in their life and feel very recognized. Okay, this next one from Emma. I used to think so badly of myself and was in a really bad place mentally, but ever since I started listening to your podcast, my mindset has completely changed and I'm so much happier. Thank you so much for sharing that, Emma. I feel like when you guys say these things and like how my podcast has helped you, it is truly the biggest motivator to keep filming these episodes for you guys. Because, you know, sometimes I get a little bit discouraged as well. And I question, like, am I doing well? Is these podcasts even good? Am I giving good advice? But knowing that I'm at least helping one person is the reason why I do this. Thank you guys for your kind words. And if you want me to read your personal glow up message or your glow up story to share with the whole bestie community in the next episode, then make sure to leave it at the end of this Spotify episode, or if you're on YouTube, then comment it below. I just know you guys are on the path to being the best version of yourself. I love glowing up with you all, and I will see you on the next Reset Sunday. Bye!